everyone to the Outtakes Movie Podcast. I'm Sam and we're still going on our quest to go through every single movie ever made and objectively rank them best to worst of all time. I'm joined, of course, by my amazing team. Amelia, how you doing?
Hello.
Joe, what's going on, man? You seem very bouncy, very dancey. I'm into it.
I've not been out the house in like a week, so, you know. The first human contact I've had. Nah.
And Jacob, what's going on, man?
Hello, I'm here too.
Excellent. So, today we are going back in time to 1985. Honestly, cannot wait. Oh shit, I should do all the plugs. I always fucking forget at the start of the show. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for The Real Outtakes. You're probably watching us on YouTube. If you are, you can find us on all your podcast apps and listen to us on the go by searching for the Outtakes Movie Podcast. And if you are listening to us on the go and you fancy looking at our faces, check us out on the tube. Cool. I did it.
I don't know where you're going at the moment, but on your journey to the bathroom maybe, or to another room, check us out then.
On your one walk for exercise a day, listen to the Outtakes Movie Podcast.
There you go.
So, what was going on in 1880?
And then when the police stop you, get them to listen to it as well. While they're going around asking all the other people.
What are you doing out?
You know,
I'm
spread
listening
the
to
word.
the Outtakes Movie Podcast, where they go through every movie ever made. Just do the whole spiel.
Literally gone. Spread the word. I was going to make a virus joke, but I'm not going to.
Yeah, I think wise.
So.
We'll keep it light-hearted.
Yeah.
We'll go back. We'll go back. It's December the 4th, 1985. Christmas is looming. What's in the pop charts? What are we waiting for? Actually, this time, it's a fucking banger. We're right bang in the middle of the 80s, right? So, number one, I'm Your Man by Wham. And number two, Saving All My Love For You by Whitney Houston. Come next week, those two will have swapped, right? We're having banging times.
Mad.
Number 10, right? Getting a bit excited here. Number 10, Power of Love by Jennifer Rush.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sadly, neither Power of Love or Back in Time would be in the charts this week or next week.
That's bad.
But at number 13 and number 14, respectively, were Take On Me by A-ha and One Vision by Queen.
Whoa.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What a time to be not alive from any of us.
Fucking... And, of course... Christmas, it was on the way. It's always starting bloody in September. Christmas is always coming too early. And it was indeed already here, right at the start of December. Number 24, Do They Know It's Christmas? And number 38, just sneaking in, Merry Christmas Everyone by Shakin' Stevens.
Yeah.
It's good.
Very
Good. It's a jolly time. You're excited for Christmas. Perhaps you're excited for some video games. What are you excited for? Nothing. No video games are out in December. The last home console game that was came out according to Wikipedia was all the way back in October, and it was Duck Hunt. So perhaps you were excited to play Duck Hunt.
Yeah, man. Is that the one that came with like the plastic gun?
Yeah. The light gun.
Oh man, yes.
To be fair,
what a game
I
that
reckon
I've
if I
never
was a
played.
kid in 1985, I probably would have been hella excited to play that. You know?
I had the Wii version of it when that was on Wii.
Did you get the Wii
Like,
the
the
Wii gun
gun
thing?
Yeah, the Wii gun thing. Yeah.
Well, wanted one of them.
I know my mum didn't want me to have it, but I convinced my nan.
Nice. It's the way to go. That's what
If
nans
mum
are for.
says no.
I knew how to do things.
Heck yeah. But of course, y'all are probably going to the cinema to see fucking what a classic, man. Back to the Future Part 1. Amelia, tell us all about this movie.
Hello. Yes. Right. I love this film. I don't know how we're going to talk about this. Probably just do what we do. Go through the plot. Have a chit-chat. Talk about it. There's so much to talk about this. And I'll try and kind of interject facts as we're talking and bits and bobs. I don't have like facts, but just like interesting stuff. So like you say, 1985. What a year. Before we get into this, has anyone seen the deep fake that was released recently?
I don't think so.
No?
Possibly.
Okay,
I
so
never got round
basically,
to
I
it.
think
there's a
I
deep
have,
fake that someone
but I
created
don't.
with Tom Holland and
Yes.
Robert Downey Jr.
yeah.
instead.
I've seen this.
yeah, I have seen
And
it,
like,
yeah.
part of me was like, that'd be fun. Then I'm like, yeah, but I don't want them to remake this film.
Yeah, I'm the same. I wouldn't like to see it again either.
I don't know if anyone wants to make this film. Didn't he also didn't Tom Holland say that even he doesn't want to make this film. He's like, nah, get fucked.
Yeah.
Like,
I think this
Well,
thing
I
is
read somewhere that they don't want to.
there's
like,
been
they just
so
don't
much
wanna remake
talk
it.
about a reboot or a part 4 for so long. And I honestly don't think either of them should happen. Like, part 3 was already, let's be honest, a bit of a stretch, you know, in terms of what we can get out of this. But I think we've all quite come to terms with the fact that even though it ended on a little bit of a downer, it's pretty sacred. And there's very little you could do to make it better. And one of the things that makes it work so well is that it's in the 80s. And I know you can just set things in the 80s, you know. I know Stranger Things does well enough by being set in the 80s and pointing at all the nostalgia. But something about being set in the 80s and made in the 80s makes it work.
Yeah, it's more authentic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like whenever they make a fourth, like, tag-on film to a trilogy, it's always wank.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
Indiana
they do
Jones,
go
Crystal
for
Skull.
Oh,
look.
God, yeah.
Bullshit. Die Hard 4. Admittedly, the 2 and 3 are fine. Not as classic as the first one, but the first 3 are pretty solid, I think. And then 4 was something else, and then 5 was... Stop.
Technically speaking, The Phantom Menace, I'd say, would class into that, you know.
Sort of, yeah.
Well, if you take
Terminator,
it,
I reckon.
oh God, fucking Terminator Salvation.
Salvation,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Poor Amelia Clarke.
Oh,
bro.
no, right. You know what does have a good fourth film, though? Mad Max. I really like Fury
Yeah,
Road.
okay, no, fair
Oh,
enough.
is that
Like,
the
fair
fourth?
enough, it's not... They were a bit weird of when even the guys who made it were like, it's kind of set. It's just technically a fourth film, but it's kind of not.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's a
It
fourth
felt
film.
more like a reboot sort of thing. Even if it was a fourth, it felt more like a reboot.
Like, it's weird because I've seen interviews where the guy... What's the guy called? I can't remember the guy who made it's called. But I've seen interviews where in one interview he says, oh, it's a new thing, a reboot. And then in another one he's like, yeah, no, it's just a fourth film, same universe. So it's like he purposely can't make up his mind. So...
I feel like
good,
whenever you delve into that territory of, unless you've expressly set out to make 4 movies, you know, for whatever daft reason you do that, James Cameron, it's always going to get really bizarre. And like, for example, I want to, you might know, I doubt you do, name for me the 4th Ice Age movie.
Meltdown?
Continental Drift?
That's still Dawn of the Dinosaurs, wasn't it?
It literally, you have named all 3 sequels to the Ice Age movies, and none of you know which one's which, right?
I know the dinosaur one was number 3.
2.
So 2 had
they
a
meant
name,
The Lady Mammoth.
right? 2 was the Meltdown.
was
I can
2?
tell you Ice Age 2 was the
Oh,
Meltdown,
right.
Oh, was it?
right? And then equally, you might, I reckon you'll know this one because it's, you know, memeage and stuff. Name the 4th Shrek movie.
Forever After.
So yeah,
Forever
I
After,
reckon,
isn't it?
I thought you'd get that one.
Yeah.
But still, there was a moment of hesitation there from Jacob and Amelia, like, 4 is just too much. It's too much. Too much of a good thing.
Yeah.
No, I definitely
Fair
agree
enough.
with that as well. One thing I think we can all agree on here is that a lot of the time movies kind of need these complex and like deep characters to kind of work, like, but with this the characters are so simple.
Yeah.
Like, you've got Biff, bully, that's it. You've got George, nerd, that's it. Like, Marty McFly, hot kid who everyone wants to be. That's about it.
Yeah.
they're re-
Simplicity really does work. It really
yeah,
does.
100%. And like, I think that's why people watch this film over and over again, because it's not deep. It's not like you have to be this amazing film student to get all these little nuances. Like, you can just watch it and have a grand old time. Like, it's such a good film. Did anyone ever look into the fact that there was supposed to be a different person playing Marty McFly?
Yes. I can't remember who
there's
it was.
So much about this movie.
Isn't there a
So-
shot in the
It
film
was
still
George.
with him
Was
in?
it a George?
No.
It was
Eric
oh.
Stoltz.
Eric
was
Stoltz,
supposed to
yeah.
be.
That's the one.
Yeah. And like,
Yeah,
what do you guys know the reason why they didn't go for him?
No.
I do.
If you can remember.
I think I know why they
Was it-
went for
was it
Michael J.
scheduling?
Fox, but
So apparently Michael J. Fox was first choice, but he was filming, the sitcom's gone out my head, but his sitcom. So essentially they brought in this Eric Stoltz guy who'd like done all these great films before, which I can't actually remember, but which is
I
great.
can only remember like one.
But he was known for being like a method actor. So when they got him on set, they just realised, okay, he's not funny. This isn't going to work, really, is it? So they begged the studio to give Michael J. Fox over. And apparently he had this ridiculous like filming schedule where during the week he'd be doing the sitcom.
Yeah.
The weekends and the evenings he'd do Back to the Future. Like, and apparently in an interview, Michael J. Fox said he got like 2 hours of sleep per week.
Yeah.
Or night even.
Have you heard the
like,
actual quote where he said, when someone asked him, you were going to be okay on this without, a proper sleep schedule? And apparently turned around and he said, I'm 20 years old. I don't fucking need sleep.
What a guy.
Nice. Nice.
Oh, I love
man.
Michael
Words
J.
to live by.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that we can kind of.
Do you know what? On the this isn't like a official. This isn't something that happened. This is just something that Charlotte said to me while we were watching it. On the topic of who could have played whom, Charlotte turned around to me in the middle of it and made a joke, like a mostly baseless joke, but a joke nonetheless about Marty McFly being Mark Hamill. I guess just because they're both young, cute boys, around that sort of time. And something dawned on me when she said it, and it was that Michael J. Fox could have played a really good Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill probably wouldn't have made a good Marty McFly. I love Mark Hamill, but it's not quite the same energy. But I think Michael J. Fox could have pulled it off.
He's not a cool, how's it going, chick kind of
Yeah.
It's just
Fox is a young
weird.
Han Solo, I reckon.
Oh my god, yes.
A young Han Solo. If they decided to have done that at the time.
Yeah, he's got that charisma. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh wow, that was interesting.
Charisma.
You mean charisma?
I know what I said.
Charisma? What?
Scoot over that one. Do you guys know about the famous lawsuit as well that happened with Crispin Glover, the guy who plays George McFly?
No.
No, okay.
Yeah.
So, first of all, Crispin Glover. What a name. Yeah. Crispin.
He's a bit of a crazy bastard, isn't he?
Oh my god. Crispin Glover.
Sounds like a cereal mascot.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it does, doesn't it?
Right.
Crispin
Did you ever
Glover.
see that video game, Glover?
No.
It's well weird.
No.
I think it's for like the PS1, maybe the N64, and the main character is literally a glove. Right, that's the main character, and it walks around on its like two front fingers like this, and it's like a 3D platformer. Unsurprisingly, it didn't take off because against Mario and Sonic, what have you got? Being a fucking glove, like.
Amazing. So, out of this whole film, I mean, I love Michael J. Fox, and I fancied him ever since I saw this movie.
Fair.
And then when he's a kid, you realise that this guy, that's not what he looks like now. He's like an old man, like when you're a kid, old man. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? But basically, if I had to pick my favourite character out of this whole film, it would be George McFly. And same can be said for Back to the Future the Musical. Great, if Will goes back to normal, go see it. But basically, I just think George McFly is the guy. Crispin Glover is just, he did it so well, and I can't imagine anyone else being this like kind of just it's annoying but great. Like, it's really hard. But basically, so you know how at the ending of the film, he basically they become wealthy essentially, like. They're successful and wealthy.
Yeah, sure.
Apparently, Crispin Glover was like, wait a second, I don't want this to happen to George. I don't want him to just become this, like, big egotistical man who, he's not really supposed to be, and he's got this great career now and all this. Because essentially he thought that, like, you're basically saying at the end of this film that money buys you happiness. Like, they had to have money to be happy, and this, like, doesn't really work. So basically, when it came to doing the second film, they could not reach an agreement on how much he wanted to be paid. There's like so many different stories from different points of view, so that I'm not 100% sure what the hardcore facts are, so I'm just not going to say them. One moment someone was asking for more money, then they wouldn't get it, this kind of a thing. But basically, in part 2, I don't know if you guys remember the scene where George McFly is an old man and he's floating upside down as they come into the house. Mm-hmm. That is not Crispin Glover. That's not him. No. So basically, he said no, he wouldn't come back to do it. So they were like, ooh, okay, well, we're not going to tell anyone that he's not on the project. So we'll just bring in this other guy Jeffrey Wiseman. He can come in and we'll make a prosthetic of Glover's face, stick it on you, whack you upside down, just to make sure that no one else notices, and then use footage from the first film, stitch that on top of your face as well as the prosthetic. No one will ever know.
Cheeky.
And apparently people on set were like staying away from him out of loyalty to Glover and being like, this isn't right. And apparently he watched the film and he was like, that's me, but not me. And so he basically filed a lawsuit, risked his whole career, took Universal to court and all this, and he won. And essentially this is why we no longer...
Oh.
He won. This is why...
He won. I thought he lost.
Oh, really? No, yeah, he won. So basically this is why in the industry now, you kind of have to get permission to use someone's likeness. You can't just use it without their permission, which I think is a really interesting just fact about the industry itself, how, they were cheeky back then.
Oh, yeah. Well, they're cheeky now, fucking bringing people back from the dead to be in Star Wars movies, that shit needs to stop, man.
They probably can't get permission from the person who's dead, but they tend to, ask the family or...
Yeah. The estate.
They do, but there's something about it that I feel really uncomfortable about. When I see the first big one was Peter Cushing in Rogue One, right? Now, when I saw that in IMAX, I'll stress, I was pretty blown away. I literally in the cinema, and I don't talk in the cinema, I'm not a dick, but I audibly went, fucking hell. I couldn't help it, right?
Yeah.
I understand that in, not standard definition, but normal cinema screens, it was a little bit off. In IMAX, it looks pretty good.
Yeah.
But over time, the more I think about it, the more I just think, hang on a minute, hang on. This man's died. This real man. I know, Grand Moff Tarkin also technically died, but this was set in the past. Whatever. This real man, Peter Cushing, has died. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to just cast someone who's a little bit like him and give a rub to a new actor, because you're gonna have to use a new voice anyway. It feels like corpse puppeteering.
So did you guys ever watch Thingy? Oh, which one was it?
Ever watch Thingy?
There was a
can't say I have.
No, there was a film and
that was well sassy. I'm sorry.
Oh, what was it called? It was a film that had Jude Law. Oh, it was Jude Law was in it. It was from 2004. It was called Sky Captain in the World of Tomorrow.
Yes, I have seen Sky Captain.
Yeah. There's a bit. Do you remember the bit where they go to one of the facility or whatever, and the head pops up as the electric thing?
Yeah.
Do you know who that was?
I do not. I watched it as a kid. I wasn't really paying attention to who was what.
I couldn't tell you who it is actually, but apparently, that head is the head of someone who was famous, 20 years before the film came out, and they died, and the people wanted this particular actor in the film, even though he'd been dead for quite a few years. So they went back to his old films, got a bunch of clips of him talking, and just CG'd the head in with the new dialogue.
Oh. I don't like it.
And that's one that that's the worst one I've ever seen. It's because that one's not an existing character. You know what I mean? With Rogue One, you can argue that maybe, because it's Star Wars. That was just, they wanted an actor who was dead to be in their film.
That's not cool.
They wanted that. Yeah. That one's not great, that one.
No.
It's pretty, it's weird. It's it's a bit grim. But yeah, that's the example I was thingy,
because I know the alarmist way to think about it, and I don't see it actually going this way, but I want to try and avoid it, is that when, especially now Disney are trying to buy everyone, right? When all we have left is about 6 different movie franchises and nothing else, and all the actors from those franchises are dead, I don't want to just watch CGI puppets go around forever, in my movies.
Yeah.
I'd quite actually like to see some people acting, performing.
It'd be like The Lion King, but Star Wars.
Oh.
And everyone's just CG.
Some original
Imagine
ideas
that.
would be
That's something I'd imagine they'd do. That would be classed as an animated film at that point if they did something like that.
Yeah.
Oof. No, thank you. Eek. Nah, I'm alright, thanks.
Rip.
Well,
Shall we
Back to
have
the
a
Future.
chit-chat about
Let's
the
get back.
plot then? Let's talk about the plot,
Heck yeah.
because I kind of, like I say, I don't really have any more facty things, because I just want to chat about this movie, because I like it, and it's fun. Okay, so obviously the film starts off in Hill Valley, which is located in California, and we have Marty McFly, and he's going to see Doc Brown, who we never get told how they know each other.
No.
I realised that today. I was like, oh gosh,
No.
yeah, we didn't actually get told.
I think that's right, though. I think that's proper.
Yeah,
like we,
I don't think
like we
we
say,
need to.
simplicity. The character archetypes are so strong that it doesn't matter, because even if we knew how they'd met, all it would be is like a fucking entry in Wikipedia or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. It
Yeah,
doesn't mean anything. But what we see does mean stuff.
Exactly.
I think that's right and proper.
We get this amazing scene with all the bits and bobs going off, and he obviously plugs in this guitar to this ridiculously massive... What's he doing with that speaker? What does he use it for? But, again, simplicity.
Oh, right.
Listening to music,
Same thing.
banging tunes.
Yeah.
Right.
Good music is loud. It's the rule.
Yeah, man. That's why he lives in that little shack thing, because no one wants to live next to him, because his music's always so loud.
That's why Spinal
I mean, his house
Tap,
burnt
they
down
go
as
up to
well, I
11,
suppose, but-
because once you turn it up to 11, it's even better.
Exactly. There you go. It's so loud that you're deaf.
Jesus.
So it's the way it works.
So basically, Doc Brown, it says, you've got to meet me for this experiment tonight, grab bits and bobs and all this, and then we basically just see Marty head off to school, don't we? He sees his girlfriend Jennifer, and he basically fails his audition for Battle of the Bands. Again, they kind of just tell you all this, but like, I'm not like... I like how simple it is. They're just telling it you. It's like, hey, go. That's what he does in a normal day. This is what he wants to do. This is his girlfriend. And again, they don't really dwell on the girlfriend too much in the first film.
No.
But that doesn't bother me. She is
No.
there basically for him to be like, I gotta go back to 1985 to see my girlfriend and all this nonsense. It's great. I literally don't mind it at all. So then we find
The
out.
thing
sorry.
that I was just gonna say that the thing you said, the bit where he's riding on the back of the truck, right?
Well, good.
I want to know, right? If when they were making it, they were like, people are definitely gonna do this. Should we do this? And it's like, yeah,
Do it
right.
anyway.
I would
Fine.
imagine so. I would imagine there was at least... I reckon at least a couple people on set wanted it to happen. And I reckon one of those people was Michael J. Fox. Like,
Yeah.
I want people to copy
yeah,
this.
like it's
welcome.
like as they would, you know what I mean? Like as they were doing it, you just knew someone's gonna do it. And I'm sure I've attempted to do it at some point in my life. I don't know anyone with a pickup truck, so it didn't really work. But
Yeah, it's not really an English thing, is
Man.
it? Pickup trucks. I mean,
Yeah.
I saw a similar video of a guy who was doing it with roller skates, and he had one of those, those cameras, those 360 cameras you can get on a stick. He was like skating along with one of those, and he grabbed onto the wheel arch of a car, and just let it pull him along. But like the wheel was only about that far from where his fingers were. But he was just skating along and just like grabbed it and just went along for a bit to this music, and then he tries to cut between a parked car and the pavement.
Oh, I think I've
Someone
seen
opens
this.
their door to get out. Just gets
I've seen
clobbered and he just
that
falls
bit.
flat on his face onto the
Nice.
pavement.
oof.
It's fantastic.
Great video. It's quite good.
Fucking good is the music in this movie, by the way.
Oh, great.
So good.
So
Soundtrack
good.
is amazing.
It's
Like,
so
the
80s
combination
as
of the
well.
best sounds of the 80s and then Alan Silvestri's orchestral. Everything's so good. Oh, man.
Tell me, doctor. Where? Oh, okay, no, we can't.
Oh, man. I've been listening to that song like non-stop since I watched this film.
It's a great soundtrack. And again, why it works so well. Anyway, so yeah, so we go back to the house, and the car is just wrecked. And it's done by, of course, no other than Biff Tannen. He plays such a good... I mean, he's an idiot. He's not necessarily a villain, but he is. He plays a great idiot, and, like, they always say, oh, you know, great actor will play a great villain, and, like, I definitely think this is so true. He's so good. Like, I hate him. Like, what do you guys think of Biff and this scene with George then?
100%. He performs all his lines very well. He's big. He's imposing. Yeah. You do get the sense it is a nice balance of this guy is a threat at any moment, but it's not because he's got a grander plan. It's not because he's a big supervillain. It is just because he could punch you. You know, he's stupid enough to just punch you. He's great.
I mean, he reminds me a lot of like a very famous American orange-faced blonde man.
Can't imagine why.
Especially in the second one, where he's like running the world or whatever he's doing in that one.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's definitely meant to be Trump in that. Though,
I'm pretty sure Zemeckis has said that's what the inspiration was. Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm really not surprised. Of course, we get some of Biff's fabulous one-liners. Like, when he's like, what's it? Your shoes untied. Oh, stop being so gullible, McFly. It's so good. He doesn't say.
I love
the tree one.
Yeah, is that later on, or is that... I can't remember.
Make like a tree and get out of here.
Yeah, so good.
That phrase should make it onto the triometer just because it is that good.
Hey.
Yeah, it should.
It should.
Like classes.
Agreed.
So this is it, isn't it? Is the one of the cool things about Back to the Future. So you said it earlier, Amelia, that you don't have to be into a film buff and into film studies to really get shit out of this movie. Everyone can get stuff out of this movie. It's really well made.
Can confirm. That is the truth.
But...
as someone who's not into film studies...
that doesn't mean that the depth isn't there. And one of the great things about Back to the Future is its consistencies throughout the whole plot. That entire interaction you see there in the present with George and with Marty, would you looking at Butthead, happens again in the 50s. You know, it's all continuous. Like anything that is like just told to you, it escapes the show don't tell complaint because it's set up, and it always pays off. There's nothing that's left loose by the end of the movie. It's great.
Totally agree.
What a film.
I know.
What amazing.
So then we meet Lorraine as well. Say hi to your mom for me. But she ain't looking as good. She's
Leah Thompson in real life aged very well.
Oh, I know.
She's gorgeous.
It's mad, isn't it?
I watched an interview.
She's more like the one at the end, really, isn't she?
Yeah.
The version of her character at the end. She's more like that.
Yeah.
That must be mad, that though, right? Watching yourself in a film like that where they put like makeup on to age you. And then, like, what if in that situation you watch it, but you look better in the film than you do in real life? How depressing must that be? Luckily for her, that's not the case. But you'd be like when you look at real life, oh fucking hell, guy, the main character, Michael J. Fox. When you look at real life Michael J. Fox, like now compared to the older version of him in the second film. Yeah. Like I don't know, it's mad, isn't it? I'm not saying he looks worse. You know what I mean? It's just he looks better, and you look back and you're like, man, I've done pretty well. That was what was going to turn out to be.
Same for Christopher Lloyd, really. I know he's like much older than Doc Brown was ever really portrayed as, but he looks pretty rough now, you know.
They look old, and I don't like it.
Yeah.
Bad.
So Lorraine's basically a depressed, overweight alcoholic. Her brother Jimmy. Is that the brother?
I think it's Jimmy.
Didn't get out of prison again, so they're eating his cake, and she she retells the story.
Wait, is it Joey? I think it's Joey.
Joey.
Oh yeah, it is Joey. Definitely Joey. Yeah,
it's Joey. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
she's like, oh, yeah, well, if my father hadn't hit him with his car and all this, and like you say, it's setting it up. But I feel like if you're watching it for the first time, you're just like, oh, that's cute. Oh, they're telling us all this stuff. And then you're like, oh, but that's when they met. And then this is when like, I think if you're watching it for the first time, it's nice to be able to piece all these little Easter eggs or hidden things together, I think.
It doesn't feel too expository, because when she's telling the story about how they first met, what you're also being told is that George is like not present in the relationship. He's too much of a goofball to even know his surroundings. He's sat with his entire family, but he's off watching TV. So you're being told other information while that's going on. So it doesn't feel like the movie's sitting you down and going, listen to this, it's important. It's delivering it to you while something's going on, and then it sticks in later. Good.
It's
good
a very
writing.
good idea. It is.
Bob Gale,
really.
good writer.
Then obviously we skip to the main kind of like turning point. So Mike McFly goes to the Twin Pines Mall, and I have a little fun fact. If you go to the actual location of that mall, that sign is still in that mall. They have kept it there,
Nice.
which is something I'd love to go and just visit.
Same. At
Which one did
night,
they keep? Did they keep the twin one or the lone one?
Twin.
Ooh, that's a good question.
Twin.
Pretty sure it's the double one.
I feel like that one's more iconic.
Yeah.
I love that as a
I'll show you the
little
video.
Easter egg, that before Marty even gets to see his family, you're already given this subtle hint that things might be a bit different. Yeah, I'm a fan.
It's very good. So basically, Doc's like, I've turned this DeLorean into a car, and we get all the iconic bits of the film. You build a time machine out of a DeLorean. Like, it's really good. Like, I just love it. And
There's certain films, isn't there, when you watch them, and you watch them so much that you can just say the lines as they're coming.
Yeah.
You're just like what was I don't know. Like, it's like even when you've not watched it for like ages,
Yeah.
you can still say the lines. What was it? We did something on the show, and I think I picked it.
Batman.
And I've not seen it for ages.
Batman Forever.
Surely
Batman.
Hat must
It
be.
was, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was Batman. Yeah, like with that, like I'd not seen it for years, and I could still quote the lines as they were coming. It's the exact same with this. I mean, fair enough. I had watched Back to the Future much more recently than Batman, but you don't need the script. You know what I mean? You're just like it's like saying the lines.
I wouldn't say those two movies are terribly comparable.
Well,
though.
no, they're not. No, they're not. No, one of them is really good, and the other one is
really
more
bad.
nostalgia.
Forever.
Yeah, really bad. Yeah,
Miles and
bad
miles
it's
apart.
It's so bad. But
Batman
my
Forever
point
is so
is you can
quotable
quote
because
them.
every line is so ridiculous, I think.
yeah,
And this movie has ridiculous
like-
lines, but it's not
Not in like a bad
constantly
way, in like
bashing
a-
you
oh,
over
yeah.
the head with its insanity, you know?
yeah,
It's
literally.
buffoonery.
It's
Ah.
buffoonery.
Call back.
So one thing I want to touch on while we're talking about this scene as well is I want to get everyone's opinion on the CGI and stuff in this film, because I personally think it still holds up.
Yeah.
Like, I think this film has been done really well. Obviously, everyone, when I was Googling, like, the CGI for this film, everyone kept talking about the whole hand in front of the face, like, really bad CGI when he's disappearing. But at the end of the day, it's the 80s, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
stuff like
that's the
gonna
only
be
one
a-
that stands out to me, you know. The DeLorean at the
other
end's a
one.
bit iffy, but it's serviceable, it's fine. Go on, Jacob.
The one that I always notice is, I think it's just like a green screen thing, when there's the flames shoot under their legs.
Yeah, I know.
Yes.
You know, when he remote controls it. When the fire shoots under their legs, that always catches me as being a bit garish, because they're not quite lined up perfectly. And
Yeah.
you can always tell a little bit, but it's like a short little thing that you miss. And
I think the
disregard for
shot-
the rest of the movie.
I think the shot itself, even though the CGI is a little bit misplaced in that, the shot is really cool. The way the camera pulls back and up at the same time as the flames rise, it's nice. I think it's visually appealing. Like if it was done perfectly, it would elevate it even better. But I think the camera's helping a lot there. I like
Yeah.
it.
It kind of draws your eye away from it, so you're kind of focusing more on
Yeah.
the movement, aren't you, than like actually analysing it. Definitely agree there. So then obviously he's like, oh yeah, well, you need plutonium to get it, and I've stole it from Libyan terrorists, I believe it is.
In the Scooby-Doo van.
Yeah, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Bazookas and everything. Madness.
And of
It's
course
so
they show
overkill,
up.
isn't it? It's really funny, and it's probably intentionally funny to watch a terrorist in a hippie van in an abandoned mall parking lot with a bazooka. You know, it's so ridiculous.
It's so OTT.
Yeah,
Like,
I love it.
why did they bring the bazooka? Was it already in the truck? Was it already in the
Because they're
van?
Libyan terrorists
did
in
they
the
plan on-
80s.
I suppose,
Everything's
'Cause, I mean,
ridiculous.
it's not like they came with the intention of just blowing him up. Because he
Well-
had the AK as well.
Well, we talked
So he was
talked
like-
about it in the Die Hard episode. As long as when they got on the plane, they had the launcher in one bag and the rockets in another, I'm sure it was fine.
I suppose.
So
yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah, that's true. Man.
But yes, of course
But I
they
mean-
show up, don't they? So basically, sorry, I'm looking at my notes because this bit, like, so much happens.
Yeah.
So obviously they send Einstein off into the future and it worked. Einstein again, he's just a dog, but 10 out of 10.
Good dog.
Good doji. And yeah, so Marty, after Doc gets, like, shot up, I remember when I first saw that scene, I was like, oh shit, they killed him off pretty quick, didn't they? Like, which is risky because, like, some people, like, I don't know, I think, would they do that today? Maybe, but I don't know. I think this film just is one something, like, say, a lot of time I mean, maybe this is because of the fact that, like, his mom tries to, like, shag him and everything, but films like this, I don't think studios take risks on films like this anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
There's it's weird, is it? For better or worse, things like this. Well, the shooting Doc Brown is one thing, because obviously he's there in the past and this and the other. But specifically the bizarre incest angle, for better or worse, makes this movie memorable. You know?
Doc Brown gets shot, and obviously Marty McFly jumps into the time machine and accidentally goes back to 1955, would we say? Doesn't do it on purpose.
Iffy. When he's in the past, he seems to be like, what? How have I done this? But while he's driving away, he seems to keep, like, checking the speedometer as it gets closer to 88, and it kind of feels like he's trying to do it.
Is that... See, when I watch that, though, is that not just the filmmakers reminding us that it's getting close to 88?
It probably is,
I don't
but
reckon
Michael J.
that's-
Fox is checking it. He's
I think
looking.
he's trying to get up to
I don't know
90.
that.
Maybe.
He says, "Oh, let's see
Oh,
if
'cause
you
he says, doesn't he?
bastards,
Yeah.
whatever, can hit 90." And then he's just driving
Oh, he
through
does,
the
yeah.
car park rather than trying to find the exit.
I reckon, he literally just forgets that it's 88. And he's like, oh, yeah, man, let's get as fast as we go. Boom, boom.
Scoot.
I remember, isn't 90, like... Or I know that the DeLorean's not very fast anyway.
No.
It can't get to, like, more than, like, 120 or something.
It struggles
It's
to
really-
actually do 88 in real life.
Like, isn't it, like, a really shitty car?
Yeah.
And it did
It's
really
fucking awful.
shit.
Yeah, the
And this
DeLorean
film
was built
saved it.
entirely on style over substance, so it looks great. But like I really like all the times that it breaks down in the film, because it notoriously
Very realistic.
DeLoreans would break down like all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
It really
man.
is like an 80s
And now everyone wants a
futuristic
DeLorean.
car.
Yeah,
It's mad then,
cool,
isn't it?
though.
Like, before this film came out, everyone would be like, why the fuck do you have a DeLorean? Whereas now, I bet every single one of us would kill for the chance to have a fucking DeLorean.
absolutely.
I think it'd be hilarious.
I
yeah.
would 100% will love
Have
to
you
have a DeLorean.
heard that they're making new DeLoreans?
No.
God. No, actually, you know what I have?
Have they released any images?
It was a while
Because
ago,
I'm
but
worried.
I don't think
because
so.
if they just make old DeLoreans again, that's fine. But if they try and rejig it, I'm kind of worried about
Probably
what that's
will.
going to be.
Probably will.
Remember the fucking Cybertruck or whatever it was that Elon Musk unveiled, that polygonal ass, and it was supposed to be
Love that thing.
it's supposed to be really strong, and then it broke on the stage.
Oh, man.
Do you
That
reckon
was like
someone
a
did that to be a
PS1 truck,
dick?
that, though.
In it, yeah.
Man. It takes the windows.
So funny.
Oh man. So, yeah, Amelia, carry on.
Back to the Future. So yes, Marty McFly is in Hill Valley, but not his Hill Valley. He's in 1955, and he's got no way of getting back because he does not have the plutonium. So he's like, right, well, I've got to fucking do something. So he has a little wander around, and he bumps into good old George McFly. He goes into the diner, doesn't he? And we get this, like I say, this great scene where they're both kind of just there, like, and then kind of like turn around and have a look as Biff comes in. And like I say, it's a really good little scene, to be fair. It's cut out loads in this way. Well, so we get also introduced to Mayor Goldie Wilson. I love his character. He's so fab. I'm trying to think what else happens in that scene. There's like,
see, I think Mayor Goldie is another great example of one of the good things this movie does that a lot of movies don't do, which is world building. Like, there's always trucks running around with people's names on. You've got re-elect Mayor Goldie in the 80s, then there's another mayor that's trying to be re-elected when you get into the 50s. All these shops have like people's names on them, and they're all like kind of relevant, even if they're not massively, like they're relevant to things that are going on. You get to know all the street names, obviously Twin Pines Mall, and it's kind of like the world of Back to the Future feels like a real world. It really does. Like, there's times in it when it's just like product placement. You just see a Burger King hanging out because, well, they've paid to be in the movie.
Yeah.
But there are times when it's created stuff and it feels real, and that's really easy to get invested in. I don't know. It feels living. It's cool. Not a lot of movies do it. A lot of movies are too contained within the themes and ideas, and that's cool and all if you're doing it strongly. But I think it's harder to get people really into it, and people really love this movie, and I think that's one of the reasons why.
See, I remember when I was younger being really upset when my mum told me that Hill Valley wasn't an actual place I could go visit, and finding out it wasn't real. And I was like,
I mean, you kind of can visit it.
It was so sad.
It's on the Universal Studios Backlot Tour in California.
Yeah, I suppose, yeah.
So,
But like an actual town with the thing, I wanted to go see the clock tower and be like, man,
I think
back in
the
time
school
here.
you can go and visit. I'm pretty sure the school was a real school.
Didn't they use the school in something else? Isn't the exterior of the school in...
I think.
Yeah, is it? Yeah, I knew it was in something else. I knew
Pretty
they used
sure.
the exterior for something else,
Yeah.
It's like how they use the thingy, they use the... it's unrelated. Well, it's the 80s, so they use the house from Home Alone in something else as well. I think it's the Christmas... No, it's not. No. Same situation.
Well, you can go and visit Doc Brown's house. That is an actual house
Cool.
over there. I'll send you a great video by a guy called Justin Scard. He does loads of videos where he goes out in California in places to actual like movie locations, and he did one for Bits and Bobs in Back to the Future, and it's really interesting. I'll have to send it over to you guys. But
Which Hill Valley is it? Is it the 80s one where in the cinema it's playing a film called American Orgy?
That's the 80s.
The 80s version. Isn't it an adult
gotta be the
cinema at that
80s.
point?
So when I
isn't it-
first spotted it, I couldn't see if it was an adult theatre or not. It just kind of like a normal cinema. And I had two questions. One was, oh my god, what kind of cinema is showing a movie called American Orgy? And two, what makes it an American orgy? How is that different to a normal orgy?
The underwear's got the flag on it. Maybe. They've all got like Western
There's
accent.
fucking
Southern
eagles
accent.
all the way around the set just watching. That's what makes it an American orgy.
Yeah. Oh my god.
I mean,
So is there a sequel, like British orgy then, where they're wearing like an English flag?
Yeah,
and it's raining?
maybe
I
it's the whole
assume it's
thing.
raining. I assume there's an orgy cinematic universe out there ready to explore.
So wait, then what would be the one that's the Avengers? Would it be like World War II orgy?
It'd be
World War orgy, or like...
International
It's a small
Space Station
world.
orgy.
Oh, okay, I can get behind that.
United Nations.
United Nations
Nice,
orgy.
nice. Who's the bad guy then? Who's the Thanos? Like... I don't
Aliens,
know.
man.
I suppose, yeah. So just Thanos again, yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
Anyway,
Martians.
I don't know whether or not it would be the best or worst porn ever if halfway through aliens showed up and started attacking.
You know what? It would not surprise me if there was lots and lots of videos where that happens.
Probably already exists.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure I've seen... Wait, hold on. No.
Don't wanna know what you get up to in your spare time.
on like Twitter and stuff? No,
I think you have to
on,
clarify
like,
now, because if you leave it, you know, you've already started
No,
that
right,
sentence.
no. Okay, right. Have you ever seen, like, on YouTube or on Twitter, it's, like, out of context. Before the stuff happens, they have, like, the one that you always use is the guy in the bathtub, and he's like... It's like, this is the
beach.
bathtub.
Oh, yeah.
This is the beach. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure I've seen ones. There's another one where there's like a woman, it's like a Captain America one, and he comes in and he punches the guy or something, and she's like, oh my god, how can we repay you? And he goes, you could suck my cock. And then it just goes off, and that's it. And it's just out of context, it's amazing. And I'm sure I've seen ones where aliens just appear. And it's just the,
I've never seen
it's off screen. And then aliens appear and they're like, we're here to take over the... And then it just goes off. They just get into it straight away. So,
You know when you want to find this
you know.
just to have a laugh, but like I don't really want to Google.
I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it. And I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove that it's just that clip I've seen.
Okay.
I'm not gonna scour it, it's fine.
See,
Anyway.
I can't get over the fact that this was genuinely a thing in the 80s, like that there would be cinemas just for porn. Like one of my other like favourite films is American Werewolf, and I do really want us to watch that at some point. The one that's like really well known for like the transformation scene. And part of that is they go
Michael J. Fox, is that?
No, that's Teen Wolf.
That's Teen Wolf.
Teen Wolf, yeah.
They basically at one point, I won't tell you because it's quite crucial to the film, but they go into an orgy cinema. And they're sat there, and all you can hear is like the moaning on the screen. I'm just like, this was a thing. Like people went to the cinema.
Do you know what's even weirder about it? Right. So famously, Pee Wee Herman was arrested for jerking his turkey inside a porno theater. Right. The thing that baffles me about that is they had porno theaters. And you weren't allowed to masturbate?
Yeah, you just had to sit and enjoy
Why
it.
were you going?
Oh, it's so ridiculous.
Would it shock you to know that they still exist?
They still
I thought you were going to say,
like-
would it shock you to know I've been and I've done it. I genuinely thought you were going with that.
Oh, no. There's one...
I too was arrested for masturbating in a porno theater.
I mean, I don't... Oh, no. There's one in Manchester, and the top comment is friendly staff, wide range of products. I don't think this is an actual cinema. Actually, I think it's just a shop.
I mean, there's
But
that
I love that
cheeky
it's
indie magazine just outside.
friendly
Cinema.
staff.
What did you
Wonderfully
Google to find
knowledgeable
these?
staff.
Just porn theatres.
I put adult cinemas. That's it, and it came up with some Empire Club Cinema in Huddersfield. It's venue for adult films and twice weekly striptease with coffee lounge and sex shop.
Damn.
It closes at 10:30, so you can't stay too late. Can't go there after a night out.
Oh my god.
Maybe do prees there. Can't stay all night. Sorry. Some people have to go home to their families.
Whereas in 1955,
Holy shit.
Marty McFly is running after his dad, trying to, sort this shit out, and he finds out he's a peeping Tom. And his dad is trying to get a bit of a look-see. And obviously the whole story is that Lorraine's dad hits George with the car.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-oh! Marty gets hit. So obviously Marty gets hit, and then he wakes up and he thinks his mom is like, consoling him. Is that the word? Probably. And like trying to make sure he's okay. And then he's like, "Whoa, I had the most like fucked up dream, bro." And then obviously he wakes up and he's like, "Whoa, you're my mom, but young. What the fuck? This is really weird." Does he call her hot? I can't remember.
I think he does, doesn't he? Does he not?
Doesn't he go like,
feel like I
"You're
can hear it.
Young. I'm trying
Pretty sure it's young.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember.
And then later on he says thin.
Yeah.
To,
Yes.
When he gets back.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
It's so good.
Mad.
she's really thirsty in this movie.
Oh my god! And considering she's there, like, at the beginning, like, young girls shouldn't be running after men and all this.
But at the dinner table, she's like, oh my god, way in his personal space.
Yeah.
I love all the jokes as well about his body warmer being a life preserver.
Yeah.
I think they're
Love that.
always quite funny. And, like, of course, we get the whole Calvin Klein bit. It's like, Calvin Klein, that's your name, isn't it? And he's like,
on your
why are my
underwear."
pants off? Which is very weird.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if some...
Definitely, like, occurred to him straight away that his mum was the one who took the pants off.
Yeah.
Or he was like, he noticed it straight away, and he was like, "Oh man, I'm not wearing any pants." Whoa! It just like occurred to him, like it zoomed in on his head. He's like, "What?" Because I mean, that would be a. I don't know how he keeps his cool in this situation. I get that he has to, because obviously she doesn't know, but I don't know if I could. I'd be too freaked out.
Good job he didn't
I'd
have
be
any
like, right, no.
morning glory, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe. Oh god, imagine.
This is the thing, though, because,
It was
like...
dinner time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was dinner time, to be
was-
fair.
I suppose. Afternoon delight.
glory.
That's what it could have been. It could have been.
No!
That's what it could have been.
So Marty ends up tracking down Doc's younger self, and he's basically like, whoa. Okay. And, like, about the future. But, like, he obviously tells about this time he, is it when he fell over and hit his head or something and he had the idea of the flux capacitor?
Yes.
He's like,
and he's
well,
like, just done it.
He's like, it works. You made it. Like, so they both kind of decide that, okay, well, we need to send you back. And then Marty has this revelation. He's like, oh my god, the clock tower's gonna get lightning struck on it. That's the power we need. And so Doc Brown's like, right, well, you can't go outside. You cannot interact with anyone because you could fuck everything up. And he's like,
Little bit of self-isolation.
yes, perfect.
Hey, relevant.
Yeah, you see, that's what happens if you go outside. You're gonna
You mess
disappear.
with the space-time
Look up the
continuum.
time continuum,
Hey,
and you
thanks.
disappear.
Exactly.
So,
So then he's like,
don't fall.
well, Mum didn't kind of meet Dad, so it looks like all my siblings are being, like, erased from existence. So he's like, right, okay, well, like, we need to sort this out. Like, this is not a good thing. So, yeah. Next. I need to scroll, hang on. So, obviously, when does that happen? I watched this, like, 2 days ago.
Which
They go to school, don't they? That's the next
Yeah,
thing.
I thought
Yeah,
it was.
they got to school, don't they? And then,
Right. So, obviously, we get the whole idea that George needs to ask Lorraine to the dance, and it's. Do you know to where I'm getting confused? I'm thinking of the musical, and I'm
musical
like,
it's so different.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same, but it's different because they can
What
blend
are
a lot of the
what are the
events.
differences? Out of interest.
I'm not gonna
Do you wanna go
say
for it, Amelia? You're not going to say.
I'm
was
not
just
gonna say.
Fully spoil it.
because someone in this chat might be going soon. And I don't
Oh,
want
Joe.
to. Well,
I mean,
Yeah,
provided it
happens.
ever
Or
goes
Sam
back
Yeah.
on.
yeah, I mean, I hope it does. So I want to go watch it. Like,
They've changed a couple of bits at the beginning.
I'm happy to spoil it because it's similar, but they changed some things mainly. Well, I reckon for duration and ease because it's happening on a stage
Yeah.
rather than being able to have because you don't feel like there are that many locations. But when you think about it, there are. Like there's the barn, and there's all the individual buildings and interiors, and there's the square, where with the clock tower, and there's like a back garden at one point, and there's the dance, and there's the hallways, and
is it like they've swapped it round so that they can give the actors time to change costumes and stuff? Because I can imagine this scene where they're at docks and then all of a sudden they're at the school. They're in entirely different clothes. But they can't just
The
strip
quick
off and get
changes are
changed on the
very
stage,
quick.
can they?
Like,
changes are good, and they'll sometimes. Is this a spoiler? No. They'll sometimes
I mean, I
use
know how the
doubles.
story goes.
yes, there is
So they'll
doubles.
have.
Yeah.
Okay.
So in order to have them rapidly go from here to like up here, they'll have someone else wearing the same costume who just looks the same, do the first bit and then have someone
Mad.
else, the actual actor, do the second bit.
There's one
really
bit where it
That's pretty
happened,
cool.
and Zach genuinely turned to me and went, "What the fuck?" Like, he just couldn't comprehend it.
Some of it is so cool.
But yeah, so in the film, I've lost my thing, where am I? Yeah. So, yeah, we get this whole scene in the cafeteria, and he's like, right, well, you need to go and ask her out. And, of course, we get the great line, "You're my density," which apparently is one of the most quoted lines that they get as the cast. That's one of the things that people will come up to them and say, which is quite cute. And, of course, Biff's there just being a knob. Because when's he not? When's he not being a knob?
Yeah, fair.
And, of course, it ends up being that Lorraine and Marty are going to the dance together, so they're like, right, okay, we need to think of a way, to get you to go, and you be the hero of the day, George. So they obviously come up with the plan that we're going to pretend that, I'm being a bit argy-bargy over here with Lorraine, and you're going to come over and, give me a good sock-em, and it's great. So, like I said, I'm really, shortening this down because everyone knows this film inside out. There's no point getting into the specifics of it.
Yeah. Wait, it's really quick, the bit where he does the density bit. That's when he goes into the diner, isn't it? And
This is where
having
Amelia's getting confused, because in the musical, they mush it together.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, they do.
So the first confrontation with Biff in the diner... No, sorry. The second time we meet him is in the lunch school hall. Right?
Yeah, because he does...
And this fight gets broken up by the bald guy... What's
Strickland.
Mr. Strickland.
That's the one.
Mr. Strickland,
He breaks up the fight, but in this, they cut out the plaza chase in the musical.
Oh,
turn it into
didn't they?
They turn it into a fight around the school, where they do a chase around various different parts of the school, which works quite well.
That makes sense, yeah.
Especially as how on earth would you do a skateboard chase?
Yeah.
With a car on a stage.
So in the film,
yeah,
it does. I can't remember the process how he gets there, because he's doing the thing in the diner, isn't he, where he sees about his dad rights, and he's like, "Oh, get out of town! I didn't know you were creative or whatever." And then the have the bit in the diner, but then what happens in between that and him doing the Darth Vader bit, where he scares him into doing it? There's a bit in the middle.
Right. So Marty goes to school, and then there's the diner confrontation, and then Marty follows George home and says, "You've got to do it. You've got to do it. You've got to ask Lorraine out."
Oh, science fiction. He says about science fiction theatre.
Yes.
Yeah. He's on about, I'm afraid about... I didn't know that was a real thing. I've seen a couple episodes of it. It's good. It's fine. It's black and white. It's like an early version of the Twilight Zone. No, the thing, just because the only reason I brought the whole thing up is because, the bit in the diner where they fight and he punches Biff, that shot isn't... the shot where he punches him, where you don't see you just see Biff's reaction to it, that isn't actually Michael J. Fox.
That's Eric Schultz.
Yeah, the punch is Eric Schultz. You can they're wearing the same costume, so it blends in. But if you're looking for it, you can kind of see his hair's a bit darker. He's still got the black hair. Yeah, it's like half a second, and you see him on the tiniest bit of the screen. But yeah, the fun fact for you, it's not Michael J. Fox punching him. I don't know if they didn't want to refilm it, or Michael J. Fox can't punch. Who knows?
Maybe he just can't punch. That'd be quite funny.
Maybe he just slaps him. Who knows?
Yeah, I've got really confused here, haven't I?
Well, I mean, we're back on thing now, was it? At the end of he does the thing, doesn't he, where he breaks the board, the thing off and makes the skateboard, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And then
I love
the
that
thing.
So good.
So much. I like how they then try and repeat it in 2, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah.
No.
I love the parallels.
I was waiting for, and I don't know why I was waiting for this, but I was properly waiting for that kid to turn out to be a famous skater or something, watching Marty hands him the thing, he's like, "Gee, thanks, mister." He's like, you're welcome, what's your name? And he's like, "Tony Hawk." I know that wouldn't make sense, but I was waiting for it. I didn't mention, by the way, I wanted to mention earlier, so the scene the scene, and I don't know how I've done this, the scene just after Marty ends up in the 50s. Okay. This most recent watch was the first time I had seen anything before that scene of this movie. Legit.
What?
I think because every time I'd seen Back to the Future before doing it for this show, I'd caught it on TV.
Yeah. They're always
So
on
TV a
TV.
lot. Yeah.
I missed the start so regularly that I'd not seen the amplifier bit, I'd not seen the Einstein test, I'd not seen anything. And the very first time I think I watched a Back to the Future movie, I actually think I watched 2 first when I was a kid. And I guess it's just because of how wacky and zany it is that, like, even though I was completely fucking confused, I think, like, my grandma and my granddad or something was in the room trying to fill in all the gaps for me, like, oh, this guy's this guy and this guy. It was one of these weird things, though, where when they start to cross over with the previous movie, I remember just thinking, like, these characters are so much fun that I don't mind that I haven't seen the context here. This is making me excited to watch the context, you know?
I'd really love to. I would sit down and watch a 6-hour Back to the Future film. That's all 3 of them put together.
I think I'd do that.
They sort of did that. You know, on October 21st, 2015, ITV
I was
did a
actually
marathon
in America that day.
They did.
where they played 1, 2, and 3 back to back. I mean, admittedly, it was still
No,
cut
but I mean,
with
like-
adverts and stuff. But
Yeah.
God,
they
that was
still
all
tried to do
day.
the whole 3
Mad.
across the span of the day.
Like, I'm just like without all the credits and things. Like, you know, we're into they'd obviously have to use the second film's version of the beginning on slash the end of this. They'd have to use that version because it's a different Jennifer, isn't it? But just literally cut it all. I don't know how they would do the 2 and 3 because they'd have to either get rid of the To Be Continued or get rid of Back to the Future Part 3. I don't know how they would do that.
What they should do is they should pull a Simpsons movie. So it says To Be Continued, and then it says right now.
Yeah.
And then just keep going.
And they just cut straight to the house.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, I'd sit down and watch a 6-hour Back to the Future film and be like...
I mean, most films these days are like 3 hours long anyway, so...
Yeah,
It's
it
not
is.
like it
So
would
much
be.
different.
Exactly. Have a break at the middle, you decide. I don't know where you'd have the break. You couldn't have the break when... No, I don't know. Who knows? But, you know.
Good stuff.
Sorry. In my head talking, so I was like trying to listen. Okay, so obviously then we get the school. I meant to say back to school dance. It's not. It's just a dance, isn't it? Like we get the Enchantment Under the Sea dance, and I love this. It's so fab. It's so 50s, and like just like it's like I say, this film really plays off nostalgia before. I guess. Maybe before nostalgia, maybe in the 80s. They probably weren't, to be fair. I think we are so obsessed with nostalgia. I don't know whether or not in the 80s they were as obsessed with nostalgia as we are.
That's a good question.
But like,
I reckon it would have been like how our parents look at the 80s and be like, oh, that's when I was a kid. But it would have been parents of the people watching this, seeing the scenes in the 50s, be like, oh, that's when I was a kid.
Yeah, more than likely.
I think that's probably how.
I feel like one of the only reasons eras like the 80s are so fondly remembered, more than anything else, is because everything got so commercialized in the 80s, you know, and there's a lot of criticism you can throw the way of the Reagan administration for that. But what it does mean is there's so many properties that people hang on to and continue to hang on to as they get as they get rebooted. You know, it passes down in the generations, and it all kind of originated in the 80s because there was this big thing of now we were allowed to. I think the reason it happened was there was a law that you couldn't have more than, I think it was something like 5 minutes of advertising per block of children's television. That was the rule. So all these things that are like massive properties now wouldn't exist because they're all just commercials for toys, but they're like disguised as episodes of TV. So that would count as against the law. And as soon as that went away, all these properties, Ninja Turtles and everything, started to rise up as just these toy commercials, and then they get held onto by the kids who grew up in the 80s. They have a desire to pass it on to the children they have now, and the children that grow up with it now find out that it started in the 80s. I think that's what it is. I think that's why it is.
More than likely, I mean, that's a pretty good explanation of it. Don't think I can put that any better. So obviously they turn up to the dance, and Marty's mum starts a big wet one on him, and she's like, that was horrific. Like, this is like kissing my brother. What the fuck?
She's like, that bit where he's like, do you mind if we park? And she's like, yeah.
He's like, no. I love how as well at the beginning she's like, oh, I would never sit in cars with boys, and then here she is with her own son, like, park, bitch. So he's like kind of waiting for George, and he's like, okay, here we go, he's here now, right? Well, that's not George, that's a drunken Biff. And obviously he's like, okay, right, well, this is clearly not gone to fucking plan. And obviously we have this confrontation with Biff, and he's like, I'm trying to think, again, I think this is where I don't want to get confused with who's come from. He ends up in the trunk, doesn't he? Marty.
Yeah.
The trunk of the car.
Biff's goons drag him to the trunk of the band.
And this is here, isn't it? Because I always forget. I'm always like, wait, when did they get him out the trunk? You know, the band. I always forget that bit. But Biff's basically all over Lorraine and like making. And so when George comes
it's horrible that.
I hate it. But
like, there's a really weird glossing over always of the fact that I think that the incest stuff takes precedence when people talk about weird stuff in this movie, and I get why, but there is a glossing over the fact that like, a rape starts occurring in this movie.
Yeah. Biff's essentially
pretty
like,
horrible.
It's really like,
he doesn't know the word consent.
Yeah.
Like he's a scary character in that sense, that he is just this brute who will do whatever he wants. He doesn't care. If you don't fancy him, I fancy you, so you're gonna put up with it. Like it is scary.
Yeesh.
That's the first time I've actually looked at him in that light, and I'm like, ooh. Also, I've just realised that the sun has started to come around, and I've got my window open. The first time we're doing the outtakes in the daytime, guys. Hang on.
In the day. Weird, isn't it?
oh yeah.
None of it, guys. This is what it'd be like to be unemployed. Literally. We'd all be doing this during the day. So basically, so we get this great scene where he's like, move on, McFly, like, you know, you're not seeing anything, and he's like, no, get off her. And then obviously he overpowers him, Biff overpowers George, and then like you say, we get this kind of great moment of like ridiculous like Arthur fist, and he's like, ba-donk. It's so OTT.
See, I want to know in the second one, when they use this bit again, they obviously use his audio, don't they? And just use a stand-in.
Yeah.
He couldn't. I don't reckon he could sue them for that, because
no, I wouldn't.
Technically, that's their property at that point. Like fair enough, it's his voice again.
Yeah.
But it's from the first film, so like, I mean, obviously he was suing him because they used his face in the second one, but he couldn't. I reckon he couldn't have used that.
Like I said, I'd be interested to
there's
know what
quite
legalities
a lot
are.
of. Yeah, like there's quite a lot of bits in this where they use like audio. Like, isn't there a bit at the end of the second one when he looks through the door and he sees himself talking to his parents when he does the whole rug thing, and you hear the audio from that as well? But I don't know if he's in that. Is he in that shot? No, I don't know. I can't remember. But there's a whole lot of stuff in the second one that they used. They got away with it by reusing clips. It's really dodgy.
Like you say,
But, like,
sometimes
if they
these
can
films
do it,
do just
go
like
for it.
go into a blur. Because, like you say, you pick them up on telly and you've only watched that bit, and then the next day, the second one's on, and I'm like, hang on. Like, you try and remember bits and bobs, and it's just all over the place.
Yeah.
But yeah, so obviously they then carry on into the dance, and they finally share their first kiss. But before that, we obviously have Marty in the trunk, and the band, it's Marvin, not Chuck, isn't it? Marvin.
It is Marvin.
It's Marvin Berry's band, and they come
Marvin
out.
and something.
And in trying to get Marty out of the trunk? Yeah, trunk. boot, as we'd say here in the UK. And so he pops it open, and of course Marvin gets his hand sliced, and he's like, well, I can't play, like. And so they're like, well, if you can't play, like, me parents can't get jiggy with it, and I'm not gonna fucking exist, bro. So he's like, right, I'll do it, I'll play. And like I say, then you get this really nice scene where they like finally kiss, it's all cute. But he's fading. Like, this is where obviously we get the shot of the hand, and it's like not the best CGI, but it's the 80s, so we'll cut them some slack.
Yeah.
And
right.
So, yeah.
I know what the answer is here. The answer is just tension, right? In universe, though, why does his siblings fade away body part by body part, but he goes at once?
Tension.
I just said I know.
I just had a horrible picture in my head of the siblings being sat at home, like on the sofa, screaming as slowly as just like going.
Could you imagine?
You just not got a head for a couple days.
Yeah. Could you imagine if Marty was on stage without a head suddenly? Guitar, like...
I think that would have been funnier.
Oh man.
That actually would have been funnier if he started, like, say he's just playing and then he's like, he's got like no head.
See, the thing that I want to know about it is, though, I agree, Sam. There's no in universe. There's no reason. Because then the other thing is, why do they not all just disappear at once? Because surely if they don't get together, none of them would exist. It wouldn't matter because they obviously disappear in order of when they were born.
Yeah.
So why are they not just all disappearing all at once? It's like straight down, like. Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's
I feel
weird as well. When you this is the problem with starting to break down, be fucking nitpicky like this in movies. It's weird that the entire photograph doesn't start to vanish. You know,
I know,
the actual
yeah.
physical. Why would someone be taking a photograph of just that house?
So they still went there. They still took the picture, but they just wanted a picture of whatever it is in the background. They're like, oh, that's nice. Hey, go on, George, take a picture of it. Oh no, it's not George, is it though? Go on, other person who's not George, take a picture of it. It's weird, isn't it?
I'm guessing it would have been George or Lorraine taking a picture of their kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, the weird thing is as well, right? No, actually, you know what? I don't know. I can't, because the thing is, the time traveling laws in this film are so flawed.
Yeah.
But you just love it so much that you just get over it. You know what I mean? Like the whole Twin Pines thing makes no at the end when it's single pine. That baffles me. It makes no sense. But I love it still. It's just a detail that they like.
Pine trees, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's the thing, though. No, because he runs over the pine, and that's why it's single pine. But it suggests that it keeps on repeating because he sees himself go in the back. So then why was it double pine at the beginning? Why was it not double pine again? Because then...
Well, that's the thing, it never was a loop. Because... You just don't
because he sees himself.
If we start
at the end, he
thinking
sees
about
himself.
Space and time travel,
What
we're
have I
gonna go
done?
insane.
Because
the same way as he has... When he comes back, he has no memory of his past, right? What he remembers is his past.
Yeah, but...
And his past memories of growing up. Because he has no idea why they're in a nice house, why everyone's got nice clothes. Yeah. He has no memory of that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
if you were to put like the Avengers Endgame time travel thing on it...
Oh, no, don't.
Just saying, he's now in a different universe.
Yeah.
And there's only one of him.
Yeah.
There aren't two of him.
No, but this is the thing. Yeah, exactly. So then, when the Marty at the end, when he comes back later on. So, right, the ending suggests that at the very beginning of the film, there's another Marty watched it from the trees behind, right?
Yeah.
That was what it suggests. So in that situation, why isn't the pines just one pine? Because if there's another Marty at the end watching him, that means that Marty also knocked down the one pine. So why is there two at the beginning and only one at the end? But then at the same time, does that mean that the Marty you see at the end is from this alternate universe where the rich? But then what does he come back to if it's not changed?
I don't know, but this
makes no
is my brain,
sense.
so we're moving on.
It makes no sense.
Oh my god!
But I love it anyway.
I'm proper fighting against the sun now. Look at that. Woo.
I love that it makes no sense.
It doesn't. It makes no sense at all.
Man, it doesn't.
Right
but
then.
Love it anyway.
So they get a good smooch on. We get the great scene where he's like, right, play this in a blues chord, and we get Johnny Be Good, and obviously Chuck's like, Marvin's like, Chuck, it's your your cousin Marvin. Like, this is the sound
It's your
you're
cousin
after.
Marvin Berry.
It's great. And like you
Any
say,
sound you've been looking for.
like
what a song.
Sam said earlier, they're kind of like, oh, important, listen, like, the whole, like, screaming at you. I do feel like this happened here, but it's so good.
See, one thing I've always said from watching this film, I don't know if anyone else agrees, right? From even when I was younger, I always said, maybe the Johnny B. Good song, but the song they played before, Earth Angel.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, Earth Angel, that one. I've always said that song's going to be on at my wedding.
Oh,
Don't know when.
That's cute.
Don't know when it's going to be,
That is cute.
but it's
Can
going to
we
be
all
on at some
come?
point. Yeah, man.
yeah, okay.
What do you mean, can you all come? As if you even need to ask. But, like, it's going to be on at some point.
This is
so.
where Beth
I mean,
sat in the
slow
other room,
dance.
like, he's gonna marry me.
No, you know what I'll do? I'll even come onto the stage, and I'll even say the thing that he says when he comes on. What does he say? He says, like, "This for all you lovers out there," or something.
Yeah.
I go on stage and do it, and then you know what I mean? But yeah, there you go.
Man.
You can look forward to that.
You know what I love? When they play Johnny B. Good, I love how they don't even really try and pretend that that's Michael J. Fox, you know, singing.
Yeah.
That's actually Michael J. Fox singing, you know.
Is it? No, it's not.
Yeah, no, it is.
No
No, it is.
way.
Yeah, it is him singing. No, it is. It's him singing. Yeah, that's actually when you look at the
It doesn't
the
remotely
soundtrack.
sound like him.
On the soundtrack, the song is listed as Michael J. Fox. It's him singing, yeah. And
Man.
him playing the actual guitar as well.
Fair dues.
It's mad, that, isn't it? Yeah, there you go. I mean, he's not actually singing it there and then. He's obviously pre-recorded it. But he sung the whole song.
Sure.
He didn't just sing... Like, he doesn't just cut off. When you look at the soundtrack, he sings the entire song, just as it is from the thing. That's cool. There you go.
That is
Fair
very
dues.
cool.
You can go listen to Michael J. Fox sing Johnny B. Good in full. Yeah, he doesn't crash halfway through.
That
But-
sounds really interesting.
There we go.
So the storm ends up
good.
coming to Hill Valley, and obviously he's like, right, I've got to get back to Doc because it's time for me to go back now. I've sorted everything out. I can go. So
Back to
we
the
get
future.
this great kind of like tense scene where they're trying to set it all up and they're ready to go, and then of course something has to go wrong last minute. And does something fall, or does it get the cord essentially gets
Tree.
broken?
Isn't it the
Tree.
tree?
Is it the tree? I always
falls on
forget.
The
cable.
lightning zaps
Yeah.
the tree and it comes down.
And so
Yeah.
he's like, right, okay, well, I'll just have to go up there and sort it out. Like, I'll just do it. And like you say, how does Doc not die?
Oh, yeah.
When he goes like that, and then obviously there's
Gets electric,
How does he
fucking
not
struck by
die?
lightning.
And the fall! Surely he fell off that.
Far Cry he
He
Far
zip
Cries it
lines
down that
down.
thing in the zip line.
So
like,
I was going to say,
He zip lines,
because if
yeah.
he falls, he's gonna die. Yeah, he does zip line
Yeah.
down.
I love this whole sequence.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good. Like, they keep adding to the tension with every single one. It's like the tree falls, it cuts the thing, he goes up. Tension about him going along the top of the clock tower, and if he might slip, and it's all rainy, and it's dangerous, and then he connects it, and just as he connects it, he rips it out of another side. It's like, oh, how is he gonna fix it? It's so fucking good. Like, it keeps you,
Yeah.
it really keeps you on the edge. It's a really all it is basically is a man plugging something in while someone else drives, but it's the music, the way it's shot, the way it's edited, keeps the tension climbing and climbing and climbing, and it's honest to God one of my favourite sequences in cinema.
It
It's
is
so
good. I think the music's
Yeah.
definitely a big part
I
of this
love
whole
it.
sequence. I think the music in this
Oh, yeah.
film is great. Like,
Yeah.
it's amazing what music can really do to a scene. Like, and obviously
Yeah.
before
Oh.
this, Marty hands Doc a note, and he's like, "Right, you need to know this." And he's like, "No, I'm not. I don't want to mess with like destiny and all this future stuff. Like, I know." And so he rips it up, but it comes into play later. So obviously Marty comes back, and he's too late. He watches Doc get shot again, and he's like, "For fuck's sake," goes down, and he's like, "Oh." And he's like, "Well, ripped it up, but I started it back together because, you know, don't want to die." So yeah, and then that's when he goes back, isn't he? He goes home. So Doc takes him
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
and he's like, does he wake up in the? Yeah, it's the next morning, isn't it? 'Cause it's nighttime. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
He wakes up
Yeah.
in that weird position that Marty McFly sleeps in, where he's got like his arm like somewhere up here.
Oh yeah, it's like Brian is back. Yeah. Weird.
Do
that,
you think Michael J. Fox actually sleeps like that?
No.
Or did ever sleep like that? Question to ponder.
I reckon he just jumped on the bed and just stayed in whatever position he landed in, and that's why he's like that.
And it happened to be like that twice.
Yeah. Well, he did it once, and he was like, right, that's it now. Or maybe someone pushed him, and both times he just happened to land like that.
Who would have been there?
I don't know.
Steven Spielberg
What's the guy called?
pushes him.
Get in the
Thingy
bed.
Kazaic, whatever his name is. The guy who directed it.
Rob Zemeckis.
Rob Zemeckis, yeah. He's like, hey Matt, come here a sec. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. What direction do you want? Come here. Pushes him onto the bed. That's how it happens.
I mean,
I don't know why it has to be so violent, but yeah, all the crew's just like, what just happened? There you go.
So obviously,
Behind the scenes, Back to the Future.
he goes home, wakes up, like you say, in this fucking ridiculous position, goes downstairs, and everything's changed. His family's now a little bit more wealthy. His dad's a famous author. His mum's, fit and healthy and fine. And the relationship between the parents is different. It's almost like they are actually in love and they have actually fallen for each other instead of just this kind of like, oh, okay, I feel sorry for you, I'm going to stick with you kind of thing at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which is quite nice.
It's the juxtaposition of ended up with a husband who's more of like your son than he is your husband versus the actual masculine manly
Slaps
man.
your ass on the way.
Yeah. The man of the house.
And obviously Biff is now a completely different guy as well. He's this more kind of shriveled up, doesn't really have the confidence anymore either. And obviously he's giving Marty's truck a good old polish and all this, and then obviously we have Jennifer. She comes back into the picture, and so like you're like, oh, this is well cute, what a happy little ending. But no, they planned more. So of course he's like, oh, this is great, I've got a truck, I've got a girlfriend, we're gonna go out to the lakes. And then Doc Brown turns up and he's like, nope, bitch, sorry. We need to sort out your kids because you fucked up somewhere along the line and produced fucking idiot children, didn't you? And so he's like, right, we're gonna go back to the future, and of course we get that line, roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Beautiful.
And yeah, that's Back to the Future, kind of in a nutshell, as well as the musical.
Yeah.
Nice.
This is why I shouldn't do
Good
this. But yeah.
Heck yeah. Cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go round in a circle and give any final thoughts we have about Back to the Future Part 1. And we're all going to give it a score out of 10. And I'm going to use maths to get an overall score out of 100 and see where it ranks on the list of the best or worst movies of all time. Amelia,
Yes.
kick us off.
Like I said, this is one of my favourite films. It's one of those films, as you can tell, I don't know off by heart, but every time I sit down to watch it, I just enjoy it. Like, it's such a timeless film, and a lot of people say it's one of the greatest films ever made, like, from the 80s, as well as in general. And I can see why. It's great, it's fun, the actors all play their parts amazingly, the soundtrack's incredible, it's fun, it's this wacky, like, storyline. And yeah, I just think even, in the future, our little kiddie winkles are going to enjoy it, and their little kiddie winkles are going to enjoy it as well. Like, I just don't think this film, one, should ever be remade, because I think the nostalgia for the 80s and the love for the 80s will really keep this film alive, and it will make this film, like, timeless. I really do think. And before I tell you my score, I also really want to plug this, just because obviously Michael J. Fox is the main actor in this film, Marty, and of course he's got Parkinson's disease, and he has a foundation called the Michael J. Fox Foundation, which you can learn all about and support, and I do want to plug that here because, like, gotta support our guy Marty. So out of 10, I'm gonna go big again, and I'm gonna give this film a full 10.
Full 10. Excellent. Jacob.
So yeah, I was trying to come up with reasons to try and knock it off a perfect score.
Tough, innit?
Because I was like, I don't want to give it a perfect 10, but then again, I can just give it a perfect 10. So that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, bloody love this film. It's easily one of those ones where if I'm in a mood, it will rotate through my number one spot. I've got about, I don't know how many, but it's one of those, it's always up there. It's always one of my favourites.
Yeah.
Bloody classic. I'm pretty sure the first time I watched this, I was on a school trip and on a coach. And you know how sometimes you have coaches with like DVD players on them?
Yeah.
And I was sat like mid coach, but not at a good enough angle to watch the one above the emergency exit in the toilet. But I had to like try and stare at the one way down at the front of the coach while everyone else is talking around me. And I knew as soon as I saw that scene where I'm trying to drive away from the Libyans and the car and the like fire tire tracks, whatever, I was like, I'm finding this movie and I am watching it as soon as I can. I don't know how long after I went on that school trip I then watched it, but since then I've watched it a fuck ton, and it's easily one of my favourites. Straight 10.
Heck yeah. Joe?
Well, I mean, right, my mum and dad really loved this film, so I think the first time I watched the film I must have been like 4 or something. So I've been watching this film since, God, I don't even know. Like, it's been one of my favourite films for like my entire life, nearly. So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 10 because it's fucking amazing, is what it is. Like, there's so many flaws, but you know what? They're not even flaws. They're charms, and I love them. I love every single one of them. Oh man, what a film this is! I could watch this film on repeat.
I agree, 100% agree. And I don't want to sound like I'm being a contrarian here, right? And I kind of hate this. So my feeling in regards to giving movies a 10, without sounding weird, it's a feeling. You know, just like, yes, I love this. And rewatching it for this, and I said at the end of last week, I was kind of interested because I was like, is Back to the Future a good movie? I can confirm it's a really good fucking movie. I was glad to go into it and be critical and find that it's excellent. And I knew this movie was a 10 all the way up until, and I know this is going to be a little bit controversial, right at the end where they plugged the sequel. I really liked it being kind of contained. And I know that's controversial because you get that really iconic line, and it is iconic, and I do love it. And I was grinning from ear to ear, saying it out loud with Doc Brown at the time. Seeing the DeLorean lift off with its wheels and fly away is a magical moment, honestly. It's really cool, and it's one that stays with you forever. However, it does feel a little bit tacked on.
Is the ending
just a bit?
Is it? Were they going to make a sequel when they filmed it?
That's what I wanted to ask.
Gonna make.
I had a good feeling it was just saying it was
going to be like a.
Here's how it's gonna. It just goes on, but there was never a plan for a sequel.
I get the sense that this was one of these movies in the 80s that they wanted to give you an extra thread so that they could figure out what to do with it later. Yeah. Like, it might have been a sequel, it might have been a cartoon, it might have, do you know what I mean? Like, they could have done anything with it.
It's a bit like one of those ones where they say the end and then put a question mark.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that. And
so having the kind of sequel bait at the end was a little bit, it did take me out. So unfortunately, I'll be the only 9 here. But it's like a minute 30 off being a 10. Like, the rest of it was so good. Which gives us an overall score of 97.5 out of 100. Ooh. Which means I've got to ask y'all.
Ooh.
And I actually reckon I can predict the answer here. Amelia, starting with you.
Okay.
Back to the Future or The Empire Strikes Back?
The Empire.
No. Uh-oh.
Ooh, that's a lot of grimaces.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? No, I've got my answer. I know my answer.
I bloody love Star Wars, right? But I do find I have to leave a bit of time in between watching each one.
Yeah.
I don't know why, because I will go and I will lap up as much fan shit on the internet and fan art and everything I would like. But with the movies, I have to give it space between watching, like I said. Whereas with Back to the Future, I never feel like I do. So just on that reason, personally, I'm gonna go with Back to the Future. But like I say, Empire is a fucking amazing film. Like,
Yeah. Not as a detriment to Empire, but that's fair. Jacob?
Yeah, tough question.
Oof.
I am gonna choose. Oh, it's tough. I think I want to choose Empire.
Okay.
Because I see that when I think of Star Wars, I don't think of all the shite that surrounds it. I just think of mainly Empire Strikes Back, New Hope, maybe Return of the Jedi if I'm feeling like it. But Empire is what sums up Star Wars for me. I think it's pretty much everything I want. Yeah, it's a lot. When I watch a lot of the other movies, I'll just go, that didn't happen. I'll just change it in my headcanon sort of thing. Empire for me is like the perfect Star Wars movie. Back to the Future is great, but I think Star Wars just means a bit more to me. So I'm going to go with Empire.
Empire. Joe?
Right. Well, I mean, I'm going to say the same pretty much stuff as everyone else says. Fucking love Star Wars. It's like, you know what I mean? It's just, even though it's, you know, it can be shit sometimes, still love it though. But then the thing of it is though, when I'm looking at Star Wars as a whole, I'll probably pick Star Wars because I love it so much.
Yeah.
But if I'm just looking at Empire as a film, I love it again so much. It's the best one. But when I was younger, I didn't think it was the best one. If anything, out of the three, it was my least favourite. And I've now come to my senses. I now know it's the best one.
Was
But
Jedi your
Back to the
favourite because
Future,
of Ewok?
Jedi was. I fucking love Jedi.
I think that's fair.
No,
Like,
it wasn't
from a
even
child's
because of thingy though. It wasn't even because of the
good
Ewoks. It's
fun,
because of the fight at the
Jedi.
end.
Yeah.
It's because of the fight. I loved it so much. But no, right, yeah. But I loved Jedi, and then I loved A New Hope, and I liked Empire, but I didn't like it as much. Whereas Back to the Future, I've always loved Back to the Future, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick Back to the Future.
You're picking Back to the Future.
I am, yes. So it's now down to you. Down
to me.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it sort of is and it isn't.
Yeah.
Well, if it was down to me, if it genuinely was down to me, all alone, I would pick, honestly, personal preference, Back to the Future.
Ooh, okay.
Again,
Nice.
I cannot stress enough how much I love Star Wars. Of course, I love Star Wars. Everyone loves Star Wars. It's the fucking coolest thing. But again, that's an entity. That's a franchise. So I've said for years now that Star Wars isn't any one of the films. As good as Empire is, and Empire is a good movie, that doesn't represent what Star Wars is. Just as Revenge of the Sith doesn't, just as A New Hope doesn't, just as The Last Jedi doesn't, and certainly not fucking Rise of Skywalker. Even so Star Wars, to me, I've said this for a little while, Star Wars is the feeling you get when you're 8 years old and you hold your hand out to an automatic door and it opens. That's Star Wars.
Amazing.
You know what I mean? Star Wars is all the stories you invented when you were playing with a toy lightsaber as a child. Or the comics you read, the games you played, all the TV shows you watched, all rolled into one, and all the games like the actual games in the play yard you played with your mate. Star Wars is so much bigger. As a film, though, Back to the Future makes me happier than Empire Strikes Back. It just does. Makes me smile more, makes me laugh more, gets me more invested. Back to the Future is the sort of thing that's so well crafted, it inspires me to make something. That's the feeling I get watching Back to the Future. I think that's one of the reasons a fourth anything has been talked about for so long. Why they've made sequel comics, sequel Telltale games, because it inspires you. And if it doesn't inspire you to make something like it, it just inspires you to want to see more, to keep staying with these characters. And again, Empire's very, very good. Back to the Future makes me happier, which officially makes Back to the Future Part 1 the greatest movie of all time.
Well done, lads.
Well earned.
I can.
Well deserved.
I mean,
very well
out
deserved.
of the top two, like, that's an amazing top two, like, to begin with.
In it. Which brings us to the most important part of the show, and that's finding what we're going to be watching next week. Jacob, let us know.
Yes, so over here in little old the UK, we've only just received Disney Plus. Well, at the time of recording, we received it yesterday. So just having a browse, switching it on, having a delve in through everything that they've ever made, was one thing that stood out to me. I was like, I've not watched that in fucking ages, and I love it. So we're gonna watch that. It is Treasure Planet.
Oh my god!
Don't! Oh my god! You stole mine for next week.
Are you serious?
I watched it the other day, and I was like, oh my god, this is like my favourite film ever. Oh man, I have to now think of one for next week. Oh,
well, Jacob, which one was the one that you wanted him to do next week?
I can't say because I'm just going to bias his pick.
Can't say. Yeah.
But yeah, no, Joe. The original first movie I was going to do, I was going to do it, but then I was like, oh, no, I won't because Joe will want to do it and he'll do a better job of it. So you can do that one if you want, but I'm not going to tell you what it is.
I don't know. Oh no, I don't know if I'm going to pick. Oh god. Oh, but just. Kelly, pick Treasure Planet.
I've only ever seen it once, and it was a very long time ago as well.
Same.
Right, Treasure Planet is another one of those films that I've not seen for years, but I can quote it as I'm going on. I watched it that much when I was younger. It was, and probably still is, one of my favourite films. Oh god, I fucking love it. So good. I can't believe you picked it. Oh no. Oh. As you were about to say it, I was like, if he fucking says Treasure Planet, I'm gonna be well annoyed. And I was like, no.
Sorry.
Oh, amazing. Well, thank you very much for joining us on this episode of Back to the Future. Let us know what you think of it in the comments down below. Give us a like, give us a subscribe. I think you can rate us on iTunes. Make sure it's the old 5 stars. 5 stars! Please. Nothing less for this show. What else can you do? You can find us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for The Real Outtakes. Mm-hmm. If you have been listening to us, check us out on the old YouTube by searching for the Outtakes Movie Podcast. And if you are watching us, listen to us on the go, in the shower, wherever, really, while you're going to bed. Our dulcet tones will guide you softly to sleep. By searching for us on your favourite podcast app. Thanks for listening, and join us next time for Treasure Planet.
Brilliant.